Hey guys, and welcome back for another video. So today I actually found a YouTuber who's pretty popular. I will insert her name here because I can't think of it right now. I literally forgot that quick. Her channel's pretty interesting. If you guys want to check it out, it'll definitely be linked in the description box. First of all, she's an intelligent young lady and very well spoken, and she knows her stuff. And this was really interesting to me because she is talking about a hot topic. A topic that's often ignored within our community. And when I say our community, I mean the Black community, because believe it or not, I'm actually Black. I'm just biracial, that's why my skin is fair and my hair is crazy, whatever. With all of that being said, I still consider myself to be a Black woman, and so there is a stereotype I'm sure you've all heard of that Black women are aggressive and masculine and we will get you told. And while we do have that stigma, and a lot of women actually do fall into that stereotype, it's certainly not all. But there's a reason that Black women are considered masculine, and it's because of some of the characteristics that we depict and the ones that we partake in. And even if you have a sophisticated Black woman who is soft-spoken and things of that nature, even if she isn't totally masculine, she's still gonna have a hard time submitting to her husband. And there's actually a lot of historical implications that have led us to this position that we're in today. And I did a little more research to go ahead and make sure that we can, as far as in the future, make the changes that are necessary so that we can be better people. So let's go ahead and hear what this young lady has to say on the issue. Here's the remote.
So what I want to talk about is we say that Black women need to be more feminine because we carry masculine energy sometimes, right? And I'm not saying like this to point a finger at Black women. So the sisters that are on the live, this is not to say that something is wrong with us or that we're damaged or anything like that. Basically what epigenetics is our DNA is coiled up very, very tightly into chromosomes, right? Each person that lives on Earth has 23 pairs of chromosomes. When trauma and things happen to us, there's certain like chemical markers that get put on those chromosomes to either coil them more tightly or loosen them up. Because if they're coiled too tightly, whatever genetic information that's there can't even be read. Things that happen to people that cause trauma, whether or not it's living in extreme poverty or whether or not it's experiencing some very horrendous, atrocious things happening to people, it actually puts chemical markers on our DNA, and it's as a survival tactic. So we learn to adapt to that, and then we pass down those chemical markers known as epigenetic markers down in our DNA, right? But we as Black women, if we're seeing our men being like lynched or sexually assaulted in front of the whole plantation, everybody that he knows, or if they're being sold away, they're being killed, and the children are seeing this, you know, it's things that put chemical markers on our DNA. It means that we have to be strong. We have to do certain things in order to adapt. You feel me? You know, it's over. It already happened. It's in the past. It's not in the past. We carry the trauma in each one of our cells. So that's the point that I want to hit on. There's a lot of traumas inherited. And with that, knowing that there's certain things inherited from our ancestors.
So as you can tell, this video is shortened because the actual video is an hour long, and I just wanted to take some of the hard-hitting points to speak on. And that was pretty informative. So she said that basically there's this thing called epigenetics in which we have this stored information of past traumatic experiences that can help you survive thusly in the future. They're extrapolated in our DNA. We are more fit for survival, meaning we can handle harsher conditions or more brutal behavior and still be okay because our past history has made us stronger because of it. That is why a lot of Black women exhibit masculine characteristics today. They were seeing their men be emasculated in front of an entire, you know, the entire plantation or whatever group of people they may have been around at the time. And so the Black woman at that point had to become the protector of her children, because if the Black man was either murdered or completely humiliated and beaten to the point where he couldn't, then she had to do whatever she had to do to make sure that she survived as well as her children. That is why a lot of Black women are a little bit tougher on the exterior today. And I think that's actually a very valid point. And so the reason I really wanted to do this video is because I found some information there was a doctor named Bruce Lipton who did some actual research on gene activity and thoughts. And this is actually some information that was published in the Psychoneuroendocrinology Journal. That's a long word, okay? So Dr. Bruce Lipton says that gene activity can change daily. He says that by changing our perception, we can alter activity of our brain. So basically, believing and falling into negativity will cause a nocebo effect. Have you ever heard of the placebo effect? Where if you tell somebody this pill will make you feel better, and it's technically nothing but a sugar pill, but they take it and they believe that, so then they start to feel better. Well, the nocebo effect is when you're telling somebody something negative and then they thusly believe it about themselves. So by her kind of reinforcing this idea that yes, there may have been some genetic markers that are passed down. If we are intellectual beings, which we are as humans, we can communicate and articulate and have languages and have all these conversations. Like obviously we can have intellectual thought, so we can change the way we perceive the world. Instead of looking at it like we're oppressed, because we're technically not anymore, we can thusly take down that extra guard and that extra wall that we've built, because it's done nothing now but just make us harder to deal with, made us less likable people. Let's let her continue.
We also have our personal experiences. We're suffering from a shared traumatic experience. This is both men and women. And a lot of us get our first heartbreak from our parents, because they might disappoint us sometimes, especially if you had a parent that was not active in your life, a parent that wasn't there for you, a parent that made promises to you and didn't show up. So we can't just ignore that and be like, oh, well, everybody, Black women just making excuses. Oh, just scapegoating, blah, blah, blah. What people love to say in my comments. We have stuff that we have to unpack, because everybody knows what that feels like. Black men and Black women alike, everyone on here, if you were old enough, you know what heartbreak feels like. And a lot of our first heartbreak be our parents. We be sitting up at the school waiting for the dad to show up, pick us up, or waiting for the mom to show up, pick us up from school. And they're an hour late, 2 hours late, we feel forgotten. So we can't just gloss over these things. But I do have an issue of just getting like things done, just knowing that I'm smart and I'm intelligent. A lot of times feeling like if something...
Okay, so just going on the point about our personal experiences and our families actually has made us a little bit more rough around the exterior. Well, I can combat that with, we are not the only people who have been abandoned or left at a school or verbally abused at home. I mean, there's definitely white people who could probably testify to going through some of the same things, and yet somehow white women are still not considered masculine. So that's not really a good point to make, in my opinion, but we'll let her continue.
Then it's not done by me, then it's not going to get done right. So I don't relinquish control as much as I should. So that's something that I personally had to work on, something that I'm still personally working on. We as women, it's very, very hard. It's very hard for us to be feminine when we are worried and stressed out. When we're worried, stressed out, and full of fear, it's very, very hard. And that's why I say being feminine is a luxury. That's why I called it that, because you can't be...
Wow. Okay. I think you should definitely speak for yourself on that one, because I'm, again, a Black woman, and I don't feel like that my femininity is a luxury. No, it's because I'm a woman and I know my place in this world and I know how to act around other people thusly. I've definitely met a lot of Black women who are like me and who are soft-spoken and feminine and get along well with the opposite sex. But it's definitely not all.
Bask in that feminine role if stuff is messed up and raggedy. Like if I'm worried about bills getting paid, and if I'm stressed about whether or not we're going to have a place to live, I'm now dipping into masculinity, because that goes into the role of protecting and providing. That was never supposed to be my responsibility as a woman. I shouldn't have to be worried about whether or not we going to have electricity or whether or not stuff going to be paid and all that kind of stuff. It pulls me out of my feminine energy, because I start worrying about things that masculine energy normally covers and encompasses. So when Black women are not in a space where it's stress-free, it makes it very hard for us to bask in our feminine essence. You guys can call it scapegoating. You can call it making excuses if you want to, but I'm telling you something that I know. And I'm telling you something that history has proven.
While I do feel that, again, this is a very smart, articulate, beautiful young Black woman, I definitely have to disagree with a lot of this, and how she said you guys can call it scapegoating and you can call it making excuses. Yeah, you definitely can. That extra strong independent stuff came out because maybe the Black man wasn't able to find jobs, or maybe because he was incarcerated or he was murdered, or whatever the case may have been. That's when the strong independent Black woman came out, and that's when she felt like she didn't need a man anymore, and that's when the single parent household came into play, and we all know that that's not always a good thing. Single mother households, you know, unless the mother is like truly secure and financially and mentally and physically, then they're just going to be another statistic. Starting our families before we're ready. And if you're not financially secure and you don't have a home and things of that nature, you shouldn't be bringing a child into the world, because you're not setting them up for the best outcome. If they don't have a stable place to live, you know what I'm saying, and you're constantly moving. I hate to say it, because at one point after my parents got divorced, I was living with my mom. And I want to say the single parent experience with her versus the single parent experience with my dad was 1,000% different. And their financial income was not too far different from each other, because they both technically had the same job. But the way my dad handled money and the way my mom handled money was completely different. It taught me a lot about what I was not going to do when I became an adult with my money. And so I am a very frugal person. I'm not materialistic at all. We have created this situation for ourselves by our attitude problem that a lot of Black women will admit that they have, and then thusly like make excuses for it. And I'm not gonna lie, like I said, this was a smart young lady, but at the end of the day, all that information is for naught, because you are in control of your world, your thoughts, your perception of how you see people and the interactions you have. You can choose to have a great day if you wake up and think like that, but you can start your day and focus on everything wrong, and then you can put yourself in a pissy mood and make you not likable. So it's all up to you. The moment you wake up, the thoughts that you think, the way that you start looking at people and the world, that's going to determine the outcome. You can fall into this idea that, yes, due to hereditary, I'm doomed. I'm just going to always be this person. And it's like, no, you can change it. People have been programmed to continue to believe that they're oppressed despite all the changes since slavery. I mean, think about it. Everyone knows that due to feminism, we as Black women are not oppressed at all. Like, maybe there's still a lot of racism for Black men dealing with like cops and things of that nature. I've definitely seen a lot on the news with that. Some of that may even be blown out of proportion as well. But as far as we Black women go, we don't have as many things going against us in the world. In fact, there's more opportunities for us now than ever. And instead of looking at the world like everyone's racist and we need to be all mean and every guy ain't crap and, you know, our baby daddies aren't crap, how about we just give people a chance and stop being such B words, you know what I'm saying, and start just smiling a little more and being friendly and holding our heads up, you know, and just being cool, you know what I'm saying, relaxing a little and chilling out, not taking everything so serious. You know, I think people take life way too serious. Maybe I, for one, don't take life serious enough, but I for damn sure would rather let life be all easy for me. And maybe I do forget to do a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, I ain't stressed because I don't let nothing stress me out. So she can definitely speak for herself on this one, you guys. Definitely tell me what you think. I know this is long and I'm all over the place, but I enjoyed this video and I hope you did too. So I will see you next time.